behind the back here. Oh, little sidestep and a jam by Wembanyama.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here's Rob and RJ.
Hey, gather around. There's a bunch to get in today. It's the Morning Huddle here on San Antonio Sports Star. Thanks for joining us this morning. Join us in all the appropriate ways if available to you. If you're driving, stay listening and don't mind them brake lights. We'll get you where you're going. If you're elsewhere and can use your device, do that. You can do it on a phone all the way up to a tablet and a laptop. We are on YouTube. We are the Morning Huddle. This is Talking Silver and Black on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Look closely. He is stretching and he is comfortable. He is RJ Ochoa, a champion of the Houston Astros, who, by the way, demolished last night. Had themselves a fine evening of big bad baseball. Won their third straight, 10-9 over the Guardians. Speaking of, Jose Abreu, the option first baseman Abreu, down to the camp, work on his timing.
Yeah, feel bad for Jose and respect how he seems to have taken this, but this was a very, very, very necessary thing.
You got the yips.
Yeah, the Astros have won 3 in a row for the first time this season. Shout out to Victor Carantini, who had the walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th inning last night. So, yeah. Watch out. Don't let us get hot.
Oh, the odds are still good. They're all right. It's still
You're
early.
All right.
All
right.
The Rangers are imminent to collapse. That's if we're going to stand by our standard storylines. Oh, by the way, if we're talking all things San Antonio, congratulations, San Antonio Missions. Well, no, not necessarily. They did go down 5-3 to the Travelers last night. They continue tonight at 6:35. Spurs and Silver and Black. We do it every day at 7:00. Thanks for finding us on the regular. Subscribe to this, please. There's valuable nuggets and knowledge to be pulled out of it. The discussion as we head into it, and I can't help but apply to the playoffs as we watch the 76ers are at a crossroads. I mean, they're probably the most likely to come back if they could, if everything works out. But, and last night kind of proved, I think, where the Sixers are going, that this is a Tyrese Maxey team. But the fans, I think the Daryl Morey, the general manager, the Joel Embiid champion, will be let go imminently. And I think that Joel Embiid will become an expendable property in the near future. Maybe not immediate, but I'd say in the next year, if you wanted yourself a Joel Embiid, they probably could be talked into it. And in your mind, given that I do believe, and you can quote me on this, I'm the first one to say this one. He's the Dak Prescott of the NBA.
I think that's silly in a lot of ways, but
I think I'm playing it in a favorable way. I'm trying to be nice.
I don't think that Embiid will ever play anywhere else.
You don't think so?
Well, he's a unique superstar in that he represents the process, right? Like you can't get rid of Embiid. It's almost you almost have to be irrational about keeping him because he represents
a failed process.
Literally everything.
Well, I mean,
how can you say it failed? It's still processing.
Well, at what point after 10 years is the process still processing and the process of failure?
If the process is still in the middle of itself, it's not complete.
He has at every issue when it been statistically amazing. Last night, a triple near quadruple double. And it ended in another dude having to win it. It was an ineffectual. And when it comes down to him to do something, he's never lived up. 10 years in. And a lot of it's injury. A lot of it's the surroundings, the coaches, the players, but everything's come and gone. And there is one consistent thing. You're here, and we can't win the big one. Feels like Dak Prescott to me.
Do you think that the Sixers win last night if Joel Embiid is not there? No, of course not.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to apply something. A very, very good player who now asks Sixer fan who they love more, who they would, if given either or, who would be the either.
I think that you can have both. You don't have why do you have to have one?
I'm just saying, in this modern day, if the tandem doesn't work, we're starting to see people bail on processes that you can just go. He's got a year or two left on his contract. He can't stay healthy into the playoffs. When he does stay healthy, he's pretty damn good, but we don't even win all the time when he's playing great.
They are coming off of a big win that he was a big part of. Why are you mad at him?
Because I know how this is going to end. I don't think they're going to beat the Knicks, and they're going to be a lot of soul searching in Philadelphia as they get rid of their general manager, which I think is probably imminent. And they figure out where they're going to go next. And to do that, they're going to have to, figure out how they're going to spend this $60 million that it's going to cost to keep him around. And I don't think they're going to want to spend it on a guy who can't play but about 60 games a year and disappears, or at least his teams seem to disappear in the playoffs. Again, feels very Dak Prescott.
I think that you are reaching right now. Today is not the day to kick on Joel Embiid.
I'm not picking on him.
I think you are. Why can't it be what an awesome win for the Sixers that he and Tyrese Maxey helped make happen? If he is Dak Prescott, this is the equivalent. They had a massive playoff win that he was a massive part of.
And then, yes, but can they do it again? Can they get through?
Well,
and basketball wins don't matter. It's series that matter.
We didn't think they could do it last night. We both picked the Knicks, and they both proved it. They proved us wrong.
I'm not saying absolute negatives here, but I think Embiid is taking a lot of abuse, and the 76ers are going to look at this and go, we thought that we had this tandem, and we don't.
Why is Tyrese Maxey immune to this conversation?
Because he's young and the next. I'm just being truthful with 76er
if
fans.
Failing, and if the win doesn't matter, if it's just a series win, then I don't know why we're only blaming Embiid and only praising Maxey.
Manny, you're right, but Tony Romo could say Dez caught it. I mean, there's a million excuses. Manny M on the Brigade Bar. Ben Simmons cost the Sixers a champion. Well, I don't know if it's a championship, but at least another series if he dunks the ball. It's hard to argue. But again, it's about circumstance. It's about coaches, it's about other players. I'm not saying everything that has happened to the Sixers during this entirety of the process is his fault. I'm just saying sometimes after a period of time, you just watch it fail for a variety of reasons, and you are the only common denominator, which he is very rapidly becoming. You go, well, maybe it's you.
The only common denominator in them being really competitive year in and year out.
Well, there is that other side of the debate, but there's really competitive and there's the absolute championship. And see, we're sounding very much like Cowboy fan when we're talking about the Sixers and Embiid. There's the Dak lovers. You go, what are you talking about? The guy's been phenomenal. And then the other side of the fence is, what do you mean? He hadn't won a big one. Well, I think we're talking about the Sixers and Embiid and this ongoing process that has involved changing of coaches and big-time stars being traded for, coming and going, big-time stars letting you down, surprises and good draft picks. Feels very Cowboy-esque to me.
What were the Sixers like pre-Embiid?
Awful.
What was your
god-awful?
What's your greatest memory of the Sixers? Losing in the finals with AI?
No, it's them winning with the doctor back at 82.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I'm not saying that. I'm not.
But no, you're right.
Like
AI in the 4 games, the one that he managed to win by himself was probably the shining moment since then. You're
acting
right.
like those moments didn't exist. But in terms of
right.
I don't want to use the term modern, but this century, obviously, the most notable thing that the Sixers accomplished was AI and Andre Iguodala losing the dunk contest in the That's it. That's it.
I hope that Iggy understands his place in 76ers history.
Right, exactly.
Because that was huge.
So again, I'm not saying just because they're better than they had been in 30 years, 40 years or whatever, crown them or anything like that. But I mean, I sometimes you just don't win a title. And I'm not happy about that. I mean, that sucks. But man, he has been so good. He has over-delivered, I think. Individually, he has. And I'm not ready to throw Joel Embiid out if I'm a Sixers fan. I'm ready to be mad at everybody else.
I was angling. I was angling for. I wouldn't mind having him as a Spur. I wasn't trying to shoot him
I
down.
see.
I was
Wait.
trying to head toward, if you got 3 number ones and a dude, pick a guy. And Billy goes, "Oh, we'd love to have your 3 number ones and pick a guy." Which would you send the 3 number ones and pick a guy for? Tyrese Maxey or Joel Embiid?
I mean, given that I'm the team that has Wemby, I think I'd rather have Tyrese Maxey. But that's not because I don't love Embiid.
No, I
That's just
get you.
because of the construction of my team.
This is
So,
literally 6 of one and half a dozen of another. I mean,
if I'm starting a new team, I want Embiid, to be clear.
Apart from the injury issue, I think you're probably along. If you had, a level of guarantee that he would remain healthy, I think a lot of guys would agree with you. We watched him hang 70 on the Defensive Player of the Year, at least the de facto version of the Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, the guy is worth every penny. But the problem is, can he play the minutes? Can he survive an entire year? And would you offer that kind of value for a dude that you never really know, given foot and Bell's palsy now, which you hate to even bring up, but it's the thing. And we had some feet issues, some knee issues. He's not durable by any stretch. And that might be another reason why he might be indeed gettable when you look at that.
But again, I think if you want Embiid, like if this is the conversation you're having, right? Like, hey, let's have some coffee and let's talk about trading for Joel Embiid.
60 million a year. 60 is where you start.
But beyond that, you have to pay a tax for taking the process piece away from the process. that may not be fair.
Like a karmic.
Well, I mean, I don't mean a karmic price. I mean an actual price. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Patriots trading away Tom Brady. I know that didn't happen. But you know what I'm saying? Like he is woven into who they are in
so
a different
much so.
way.
You're right. I see exactly where you're going, and you're right.
He represents something to them, and no pun intended, their process, and that no other team has with a player. And I'm not saying that makes him greater or better than any other player, but that makes paying for him very unique. Right? Like this is like you're going to the antique shop, and it's like, well, this has been here like for 50 years. Like you're gonna have to pay me something really special to get me to part with this. So,
and I was trying to bring you down the road with me, but you've convinced me that the Sixers would be crazy to even consider this. But I do think that as they move along, that they are going to have to make a decision, and it's really going to be between the 2 dudes. Like, whose team is this? You can't have 2 captains.
That I agree with. That's a complicated.
And I think Maxey's going to end up winning that, and maybe Embiid will just give it to him.
I think he will, because Maxey's going to be available more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality. I mean,
oh, he's good.
There came a point when Tim was no longer the best Spur, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just time. But he was still the main Spur, right? You know what I mean? And like that again, no pun intended, process will happen here. But even at that moment in time, even when he was no longer the best Spur, if somebody had said, "Hey, what do you want for Tim?" there would have been an enormous price because he's Tim. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and thankfully that never happened. But that would be the same like cause and effect with Joel.
I think
in the Sixers.
Exactly how in their best case scenario. Now you're going to have to be delicate on the coaching strings here, because you do have the young buck Maxey who had the cojones, the sack to pull up. Now it wasn't a logo 3, and it was a good 28 feet. I'm not taking anything away from what he did. And he did that knowing full well that the NBA's MVP was standing down on the paint.
And
I know they needed a 3, but I'm just saying that this was a dude that had the sack to go, you know what? I know who you are, but I know who I am.
I think that if the Sixers lose tomorrow, okay, then we're going to be here on Friday laughing at them. And as somebody who
they're going to lose tomorrow.
Well, I know, but as somebody who supports the Cowboys, I understand how unfair it is to have other teams skate by and be held accountable for things and be the only team that's held accountable. Right now, we're not at all criticizing the Knicks. We had no problem coming out and here, kudos Knicks, great job. We're so proud of you. This is so awesome. This is so great. Oh, look at Brunson going off and DiVincenzo and Josh Hart. You guys are Villanova. And we have no problem celebrating them. Today, there's not a word, not a peep about how they collapsed and how they couldn't lock this down. You had game 5. You had a 3-1 lead at home at the Garden. That was the most.
And that got 40 from Jalen. Still could.
And you got 40 from your superstar. That was the most raucous Garden crowd. What?
It was fun.
Since AI was playing for the Sixers, right? Like if we want to go back all the way to then. And you couldn't do it then against a superstar who we kind of like are doubting right now here in Joel Embiid. Like that's a big time failure. Like we're over here hypothesizing about the Sixers' failure, and we're already,
counting them down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're already penalizing them, and like again, just kicking on them.
Is it because of what we're saying, or are we just reacting to the typical Knicks fan who's saying the same thing? Knicks fans going, "Oh my God, it's over. We're going to lose this series." And I understand you let one slip away, but you have owned these guys for the majority of this series, and you're panicking. You got 2 more games to get one. They took a miracle for them to get there, and a collapse on your end.
I just don't know why the Knicks deserve some serious criticism for not. You're right.
And
they
Knicks
still have 2
too.
chances to close this out. There's no question about that. If we look at odds for Game 6, who do you think's favored? This Game 6
at home. The Sixers are
3.5-point favorites. What do you think the series line is?
Ooh. Because I wonder what Vegas is thinking here. I'm going to stay with the Knicks.
The Knicks are still favorites.
Yeah.
They're minus 390.
390.
But for what it's worth, the only teams who are stronger favorites to win their respective series, the Pacers, are minus 900 to win. Wow.
I bet that changes today.
Well, I mean, at the moment, at least, Vegas.
Yeah, if you're a Pacers fan,
are coming back. And then the Cavs are stronger favorites to win their series against the Magic. They also have 2 opportunities to close it out.
There's so much that I wanted to get into in this segment. We're not going to have enough time.